Started off with a bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3.
What up, what up? Welcome to another episode of Web3 Weekly Alpha. This is episode 11. I'm your host, Serpunk, where we talk about everything that's happened in the last week within the digital renaissance. This week, we're covering a bunch of stuff. We have crypto brokerages going overseas due to regulations. We have OPEP reveals. We have crypto pulling back and NFTs looking like they're capitulating. Tons to cover, like always, as there's never a dull moment in the wonderful world of Web3. So let's go ahead and hop right on in, and we will always start with the charts. Real quick, I do want to make a note. I had a great conversation with somebody on Twitter in terms of NFT charting. I think that some people don't chart NFTs due to the lack of liquidity, and that's fair. More liquidity makes charts cleaner, as we see from larger markets. My thoughts is that charting doesn't predict price action. It's just a good way to visualize trends and set risk levels for yourself. And NFTs have pretty much just become altcoins with pictures, especially now with Blur. And I'm a believer that you can still chart them. And there are still key levels that you see previous buyers buying at and where things could be potentially oversold and things of that nature. So just wanted to touch on that. Let's jump on in on Bitcoin, as it's the leader of crypto here. We talked about this one last week about being a bit extended off this move off the bottom here, where it kind of had 3 legs up into resistance. And this weekly close is going to be a little rough. Pretty much reversed off that resistance immediately. I sold a little bit into this. I didn't want to take that risk. But again, if you're a long-term trader, this shouldn't bother you. If you're a swing trader, these are the kind of moments that you want to look into. And what's funny is last week I put those screenshots from my normie friends who I haven't talked to about crypto in a very long time. And just last week, just a couple of days apart, they texted me asking about crypto and Bitcoin because they were up significantly in the previous weeks. One friend said crypto has a positive up, and another one said Bitcoin coming back or what? And what's funny and fascinating about that is usually I always get these texts right around local Pico tops where we're at resistances and we're very soon about to trend reverse. And that's exactly what happened. So I think I take those signs seriously for my friends. And I actually was one of the motivators for me to sell a little bit more. So thanks for my friends for their friendship and their great reversal signals at times. Let's look at Ethereum. Ethereum broke a critical level here to the upside, which is of course bullish, but then that second level that it ran into, it rejected pretty hard, right? And it kind of gave back all of last week's gains already within the next week. So that's where we're at right now. I'm assuming we're going to go sideways or down from here, and I'm not getting too excited on the long side at this very moment. As you can see, we'll take a look at just a couple of altcoin charts here just to see how those moves are affecting the alts. Thought we were going to get an altcoin season. That's not happening. Everything pretty much reversed immediately with Bitcoin and Ethereum. As you can see here, SSV was sort of a leader during this recent cycle, kind of turning back here, heading back towards this breakout level. Same thing with INJ. With INJ, which has been, if not the best leader during this crypto cycle, where when it broke out, went straight to $10 from below 5. Great move, but you could see here that now that's getting a little bit short-term top. Same thing with Arbitrum. Arbitrum had an incredible move here. It was one of the best setups within the last couple of weeks in crypto, and that's almost given it all back already. So that's kind of where we're at. The only crypto still holding up is Pepe coin, right? But I mean, Pepe is the money in the internet, right? So as you can see, it pulled back. It held really well. I think that you saw a lot of NFT people on Twitter start talking about and shilling crypto coins and a lot of the shit coins that came from the Pepe hype. Pepe and Wojak were really the ones that were got the most hype. The rest of them, just be careful on shit coins. I mean, you don't really know if they're a honeypot or who's behind them or what's going to happen. But Pepe is definitely one on mine. And looking good so far, especially relative to everything else. A couple of pieces of news that are positive for Pepe is Manifold, which is one of the largest platforms for individual creators in Web3. They posted this and said that you can list your tokens in Pepe on Manifold Gallery. And you can see that here. So that was pretty dope. My friend, shout out to Shando, where he sent me this screenshot and link to Satoshi Street Bets from Reddit. It's a forum, and they're talking about Pepe's to crypto what GameStop was to Wall Street. Can we get this serious hype around this Pepe coin that we've seen in previous manias? I don't know, but I'm keeping my eye out and just always investigating to see what could possibly happen. I'm a fan of Pepe, but we will see. And then this last piece on Pepe from Decrypt, shout out to them, where they said a Pepe holder turned $250 into over $1 million on paper. But of course, it's not that liquid, so he can't realize that profit, or he would completely tank the coin and lower his gains, right? So talked about this here, and I think when people see this kind of thing, they start to look for that next shit coin, right? And just throw in $50, $200, and just hope that they can become this guy. But a lot of people get wrecked like that. So just reporting on that. Speaking about Pepe, let's jump into the NFT charts of the week. Always starting with the leaders, Bored Ape. So I know a lot of people say charts on NFTs are not useful. I disagree. They're not as good as other markets. I completely agree on that end. But I do think it's helpful in understanding where buyers have been buying in the past and where price has been at critical levels, like this recent week here. So if we can close here and reverse, it's no coincidence that we pulled back here, and this was the breakout level in 2021. So this 50-ish ETH mark, 40, 50-ish, 45, 50-ish ETH mark seems to be an important level in Bored Ape Yacht Club, and I'm watching it. If we can close this green hammer candle on the weekly with Bored Ape in reverse, that would be kind of expected at the support line here. Same thing with Mutants. Mutants 10 ETH has been an important level a couple times, and if we can reverse here, it would make sense. I'm not saying we're going to go much higher. I have no clue. I just know this could potentially indicate this is a relatively good place to risk for a short-term move, and I'm not sure if NFTs are going to have a real big move anytime soon, because honestly it doesn't look that good. But if you're playing some short-term moves, these are the kind of levels you're looking for. Let's look at CryptoPunks. When CryptoPunks broke out of this channel, it's not a coincidence to me as a chartist that we're going straight to the next support and you're making a big move out of here, right? That's why I was really gauging this channel breakout to what direction. It faked out to the upside, and then when it confirmed on the downside, it really just ripped. And then the logical next level would be in this 40-ish ETH spot. I'm not sure if we're going to go that low, but that would be a great spot to take some, especially in the short term with some risk. That makes sense. So Pixelmon. Another thing I love about charts is you can gauge the relative strength, and I'm a sucker for relative strength. If the whole NFT market is tanking and there's one or two NFT projects that is holding strong or breaking out, there's something to me special happening there because it's bucking the trend, and Pixelmon is doing that right here, right? So you see the other charts, they're down only the last couple of weeks, and you're going to see that with the next couple of charts, but somehow Pixelmon is breaking out of levels and holding its move the last 3 weeks, and it's green, one of the very few. So to me, that's something to pay attention to, because again, price equals news, and you probably won't know why it's running until later. And this is Pixelmon on the daily to get a little bit more of a closer view on the chart. You can see it pulled back and it's coming back up again. So I'm watching that. And Kermit, shout out to him, where he shared a thread this week on why Pixelmon is potentially turning their project around from that mess it was back in the day when they dropped that ugly Kevin art that we all love. September 22nd marked the turning point when Liquid X Studio, led by GuilleauX.eth, purchased 60% of the project, talking about Pixelmon here, along with the $70 million mint funds that they made. And since then, Pixelmon has been actively hiring industry veterans such as lead game designers from Ryan artists from Blizzard. And also, Pixelmon's recent efforts have revitalized the project and reignited excitement within the NFT community. This impressive comeback solidifies Pixelmon's position as a long-term player in the NFT space. I'd have to agree with Kermit. Somehow they were able to turn around. They're hiring some sharp people from the right industries, it seems. And the new gameplay looks much better than the original art. And, you know, people make mistakes and things could always change. So you always have to keep an open mind. And maybe that's what's happening with that chart we were looking at. Nakamigos. Everybody was hoping this would break 1 ETH. When everybody hopes for the same thing, we usually don't get it in markets. But you can see it pulled back and held that weekly support here. And it's just kind of chilling. Not sure what's going to happen with this. But the Nakamigos did tweet out some news this week where they say Nakamigos are half of the story. Next part coming for holders later this year. So who knows what that could be. And I'm not sure what's going to happen with the project, but that's where we're at with it. Azuki's been another one that's been bucking the downtrend, one of the very few in the NFT market. And we've always talked about those massive grail sales as well in this ecosystem. And it's holding up, right? It did come through that trend line to the upside. It came back. It's pulling back to the trend line, which is usually a normal move. And let's see if we can hold. Let's see if we can hold. And we can get some capitulation here in the NFT space again. I still think potentially something could happen here with Azuki, as it's showing strength for a certain reason, in my opinion. Beans was trying to get through that level, got rejected. Not really going on. It's kind of going sideways. But again, it not going down is a major sign of strength in this kind of market. Pudgy Penguins came back to the breakout level. Talked about last week, hoping it could hold. It has not held. It's actually coming back and hitting that and potentially turning into resistance. Let's see if we can get back above that 4 ETH mark. If not, I will be patiently waiting for that. Opepin, really big news with Opepin this week with the reveal, and we'll be getting into that. But this pulled back into the support, which has been about that 0.3-ish area, which has been an important price in the past. So this is your kind of opportunity. Maybe you can look here. But again, NFTs not looking the best medium term. So if you do, this is a good risk spot. But again, probably more short-term moves coming in the next few weeks than anything major or long-term. But another one that's been bucking the trend, not only bucking the trend, but breaking the hell out, is Captains. And Captains are making another all-time high. And Meme Land Ecosystem dropped a sick video this week in reference to Captains. So the hype is continuing on this project, and they're continuing to buy it up. As you can see here, this was the spot. Once we ripped through that was resistance multiple times. It just took off. Same thing with potatoes. Potatoes hit this resistance multiple times. Once it broke, it's just kind of taken off and still bullish. One of the strongest ecosystems out there. Campai Pandas is looking like the opposite of Meme Land, where it's now breaking significant support to the downside. It's not a good look, and had a big move. Once they broke that trend line, it was kind of too extended, and just gotta want to see what happens then. But not looking too good for now. On-chain Monkey as well. We had that huge move when they made that first collection on Bitcoin Ordinals. People bought into that, but again, to me, that's not enough. It's not enough true value. I mean, some people may like that, but how much can that sustain a floor price for a project? I'm not really sure. The market seems to be agreeing, and we're kind of retracing all the way back to that breakout level, around that 1 ETH mark. So that was the short-term support. If you played this move, it was sort of smart to kind of sell into that previous all-time high, because that was extended short-term. Artifact and Nike, they got some big news this week as well that we'll be getting into, but it's very oversold. It's down weeks and weeks in a row. At some point, it's got a relief rally, right? Do you want to catch a falling knife? No, it's not ideal. But again, Twitter is a ghost town. People are screaming at each other. I've never seen so many capitulation signs in NFTs in my life. So, Doodles, similar move, down to that 2 ETH mark. And Moonbirds. Moonbirds is down only for months. And they also dropped some news this week as well, actually. They got a couple important things are dropping soon. But again, this is getting that back to that 2 ETH mark, and there's really no support. I don't know how low this is going to go. All right. You can see it's not looking very good in the NFT market. And maybe it's so bad that it is good. But let's turn into the market impact. One thing I want to know is that tax season is officially over. It was on April 18th this year. So maybe we get some of this selling to stop, right? I know a lot of people that were selling NFTs, crypto, that were trying to cover tax expenses. So maybe that helps. As you can see here, volume has not moved much. It's still extremely low relative to the amount in the past. And then this one, great by Hill Dobby, shout out to him, where he puts out the fire data. He's becoming a leader in the data space. On Twitter, he says, NFT trader count taking a nosedive lately. As you can see here, the blue is OpenSea, the orange is Blur, and it's just down only for trader. It's just getting to be like me and a couple of people in the entire world. Just I'm not that active right now, but my point is that you could probably fit all the NFT traders in a very large room. I feel like because it's becoming zero, right? Like we're literally going to bounce here, or it's going to zero everything. No, I'm kidding. I don't know. But shout out to NFT Statistics. Equal weighted basket of Cubs, Azuki, and Captains, which we went over the Azuki and Captains chart, has largely bucked the bear market trend. So these are the kind of charts that are also helpful, right? Because you can spot the strength and where the community is really strong. So I always remember a line where it's not the breakout price action that tells you most of what's happening in the market. It's the pullback. So when the market pulls back and it's weak, the whales really show their hands of where they want to be in that market. And I believe that's what's happening here. So great chart. Shout out to him. Let's look at some large sales. There were a few, even in this market. And I think smart traders are starting to pick some up here. So let's take a look. Starting off with 12 folds. Shout out NFT Statistics where he says, 2 12-fold ordinal sales yesterday at 22.5 ETH. Bids are now below 20 ETH. And talking about ordinals, we remember a couple weeks ago on that show when they dropped this, Yuga made 16.5 million in Bitcoin from that drop alone. And all 288 of their first ever ordinal collection sold out in 24 hours. The bidding at average price of 2.5 Bitcoin per ordinal. Some bids got all the way up to 7 Bitcoin, as you can see here. So anybody who paid over 2.5 Bitcoin for this is underwater, as that's what it's trading at. On the secondary market, as you can see here, it's trading on Magic Eden, and the floor price is 2.4 Bitcoin. So on average, people are pretty much break even, down a little bit, but the people who paid above that are underwater a bit. And then Carson Turner, shout out to him, where he reminds us, I do remember this, that they said that they were going to drop some news for 12-fold in April. It's becoming and getting closer and closer to the end of April. So let's see if that news ends up dropping. Shout out to Nobody Vault, which this guy is become a huge whale in ETH NFTs. He spent 300 ETH on this Bored Ape. This guy has been scooping up grails left and right the last couple of weeks, and he's at it again. Somebody bought this Hoodie Punk, which we know Hoodie Punks are extremely rare, and they bought it for 215 ETH. Shout out to Thank You X, where this guy just created this really nice physical piece, and it sold for 100 ETH. And this is the first one-of-one hybrid painting NFT that he's ever sold without a platform or an auction house. So congrats to him. It's called Offering Reveries, and by Thank You X. All right, a DeGod. I believe this is one of the if not the biggest DeGod sale ever for 21.5 ETH. The floor price is around 8 or 9 ETH, so about 3x that, $40,000. And shout out to Nicolay, where he says, yeah, 3x the floor for DeGods on ETH, if his math is correct. So shout out to that. NFT Statistics, a good number of big art sales over the weekend. 99 ETH for a Ferocious and Jonathan Wolf. A couple other really dope pieces from artists that some of them we've covered in the past, some of them are new, but these are incredible pieces. Pretty good sales for this kind of market. This piece I had to enlarge by Ferocious because I just think Ferocious is such an incredible artist, and this piece kind of illustrates his talent. So congrats to him, man. 99 ETH in this kind of market. 183 ETH for another Hoodie Punk, as you can see. Interesting story that NFT Statistics shared on this one, where he says, this Hoodie Punk sells for 183 ETH. This punk was claimed by the seller and never once transferred wallets. Heard it was lost for a while, and then they found it, and then they sold it. So congrats to them, they were able to find it. That's a big chunk of change that just gets lost in no wallet, right? All right, new mints. There was actually a good amount that we need to catch up with. So let's jump right in. 6529 announces that the Memes Season 3 has officially started, week 1, after taking a break. And one of the first ones was from one of the best and one of my favorite NFT artists in the world, DK. It's called Good Morning Everyone. This is an animation. Go watch it. It's every time I watch one of his animations, it makes me smile and brings me joy, and this one was no different. So great piece to start off Season 3. Jack Butcher, the Jesus of NFTs, he finally dropped some more alpha on the OPEP drop. This is becoming an AI generative NFT project where he's really emphasizing the OPEP frame over the art, right? And people are loving it. This is what the unreveal looks like, kind of like getting a pack of cards of OPEP, and then it tells you which rarity you received, depending on the box that's highlighted on the upper right here from that design. So really cool stuff. I'm excited to see what people grab from that. A little bit more details for that from Jack Butcher, where he says, to summarize, it's going to be 200 drops, 80 OPEP revealed per drop. The metadata changes on the existing token, provably random, and the people who own checks originals increase the likelihood of your OPEP being revealed in an earlier lower number drop. And it's not going to cost you anything if you own an OPEP. And he says, OPEP was a free mint and now funded with 0.5% royalties, competing for attention with multi-billion-dollar venture-backed brands. Without permissionless distributed creative efforts, it's very hard to stay on the feed. And I think he truly understands it. Like CC0 allows an entire global community to work together and build something big that may not have an entire team that they've hired on and all the money to create that and turn it into something, right? So I think he's spot on there. Shout out to Deez where he says, hell fucking yeah, we found a pleasant surprise in the wallet. This Pepe was airdropped to some of the Pepe owners for Matt Fury's NFTs, which he has a couple of them. So shout out to them. Pretty dope Pepe, and not really sure where Matt Fury is going to go with things, but nonetheless, he is the Pepe creator, and he doesn't really need to say much other than that. All right, shout out to Lucky Trader. Nike set to launch our Forces Ones. The Nike.Swoosh, our Force Ones, will debut on May 8th. We finally got a date. We've been talking about this for the last couple of weeks. They're going to be priced at $19.82. They are not launching a PFP project, right? They're going to stick to shoes. They stick to what they know. There's already 330,000 .Swoosh members. And then over here by the actual .Swoosh Nike account, it says it's our Force One poster airdrop day. So if you received the poster in your .Swoosh account, that meant you were going to be able to mint. And they're giving out 106,453 of these .Swoosh posters, and they'll be getting the airdrop. So that's cool. And this is actually what the poster looked like in somebody's wallet. I took a screenshot. And they previewed some of the digital shoes, right? So it says our Force everything. Earlier on .Swoosh sessions, we previewed some of our Force One box items, and they'll be revealing more of these models later on. Okay, Sotheby's officially auctioning off 3 Hours Capital's Grail NFTs up and coming on May 19th, as you can see here. One of the most significant collections of digital art ever assembled is coming to auction at Sotheby's, and it's called Grails. Formed, as I said, 3 Arrows Capital, and they bought these in 2021, literally at the pico top of the NFT bubble, and it's unparalleled, the celebration of the prominent artists who help bring NFTs and digital art to cultural mainstream. They're absolutely right. Here, shout out to NFT Statistics, where he illustrated this, but these are some of the NFTs that 3 Arrows Capital bought and the prices that they paid for them at the absolute pico top. As you can see here, these are just insane compared to where these prices are now. If you think about this Fidenza sold for 320 ETH then, where they bought it for that price, but now I believe it has a 50 ETH floor. Ringers, 1,800 ETH, with Ringers being at a 30 ETH floor. Punks, I know this is a zombie and everything, almost 1,000 ETH. Punks, as we looked at the chart earlier, is like at a 50 ETH floor. So just insane the prices they paid for these, and it's no wonder why these guys went belly under, right? All right, this is pretty dope news. Some of the dopest news I think in the NFT space in a minute is the founder of Marvel Studios is launching a project, and it's called Echoes Genesis Art Gallery. With some acclaimed artists like Michael Turner and Peter from the Mythos Studios team. This is a virtual gallery that I took a screenshot from. This is a video from their account, and these are some of the pieces of art. Pretty incredible. A little bit more about the drop is that the Ecos Genesis art auction is on May 2nd, so it's coming up real soon. It'll be a Dutch auction of 995 Ecos Genesis art pieces, and this is the thing that everybody's kind of eyeing is it starts at 10 ETH, right? It doesn't mean they're all going to sell at 10 ETH. But in this market, 10 ETH is a ton. I know this is the Marvel creator. I know these are one-of-one original handcrafted digital art pieces. So maybe it's worth that price, right? I did hear that some of these pieces have already sold for like 50 ETH or something like that. So maybe the price is right. But I know for a lot of people, these prices are a little bit reaching out there. So when you place a deposit of 10 ETH or more by May 1st, you will secure one piece of one-of-one original handcrafted digital art from the Ecos Genesis art collection. So they are providing some incentives for those that come in and bid early. They are also doing something else where they said that there are 100 Ecos Genesis art portraits, which are all one-of-one originally handcrafted. And this early collector bonus will go to the first 100 early deposits of 10 ETH, limited to 5 wallets. So see if that incites people to come in and bid early at those high prices. Shout out to Snoop Dogg, where he dropped another song as an NFT on Sound.xyz on 420. There's actually a lot of crypto startups that launch things on 420, of course. That's kind of the culture. And he says, price now goes up with every new mint. 1,149 of this open edition of the song was minted, and it's called "Let Me Hit Something." So, this Snoop Dogg has made a ton of money from NFTs. He continues to drop music in NFTs, and shout out to him. Mad Lads. So this is a Solana NFT that we've really not seen an NFT take off in that ecosystem like this in a minute. It really shot up to number one in volume in the whole ecosystem, and it had a 52.5 SOL floor, which is not much, but the volume was up there. The art is sick, and it seems to have a dope community already. So shout out to them. Shout out to DJ News, where you can see here that they shot up for a moment to number one in sales above Bored Ape and everybody else. All right, Donald Trump drops another season 2 of his digital trading cards of Donald Trump. This is what he says about it. I am pleased to inform you that due to the great success of my previous launched digital trading cards, we're doing it again, Series 2. And what's interesting about it is that he also states no Trump digital trading card will have more than 10 copies in existence. So he really wants to trade them as just like traditional trading cards. If you like love Trump and you want to trade Trump cards, he's going to keep them scarce, the rare ones. He's going to drop more and more as they come, it seems like. And he kept the price low, same price as the first one at $100, even though the floor price was higher than that on the first season 1. And then also what he says, shout out to D's, where he says, I hope everyone notices that I am not raising the price, even though they're selling for many times more than that. And because he wants his fans, his supporters who buy them to be able to flip them for more money and just have fun doing it. And honestly, that is the better strategy, right? You don't want to price it to where your buyers don't end up making money or they're instantly down. Right? You kind of want to price it to where you can make money, but then also your supporters can make money. So, but the thing is that season 1 just absolutely tanked. This is the season 1 Donald Trump digital trading cards price. It's been a while since that I've seen a dump this hard, this rapidly. I mean, we're talking about from 0.4 to under 0.15, like almost immediately. I guess it's because like people are realizing that these things are just going to keep coming out. So holding season 1, it doesn't give you that much of an edge. He's just going to keep releasing these over time. Maybe they thought that holding the season 1, you were going to get something special, but no. That's not the case, and the market reacted and adjusted accordingly pretty much instantly. So now jumping into what happened in the wonderful world of Web3 in terms of the news. Starting off with Azuki. Azuki finally gave some more details on their event out in Vegas. So it's going to be June 23rd. It's going to be at 10 p.m. And the registration is now open. So if you're a Azuki holder, go ahead and get your tickets. Also, Spirit DAO, which is a sub-DAO within Azukis, right? Spirits are the rare Azukis that we've gone over as large sales a lot in the past. And it looks like they're dropping a comic for the ecosystem, for the Azuki holders. So that's really cool to see sub-DAOs providing value back to holders, not even from the Azuki project itself. I'm not sure if there is some sort of partnership, if Azuki's paying Spirit DAO or if they're just doing it on their own. That's what I'm assuming. Moving into NFT Now, where they state, breaking news, Yuga Labs wins the summary judgment against Rider Rips in the lawsuit, right? In terms of the project, in terms of intellectual property lawsuit. The damages are be determined at trial. And I mean, we kind of all expected this, but finally we hear the verdict that Rider Rips did not win this. It was just kind of stupid and dumb in the first place. Klon, he is the founder and creator of the Cool Cat, and they had their drop on 420, of course. And the TLDR is if you owned a cat or a pet at the start of the year, you were airdropped a fracture. This fracture was upgradable if you participated in journeys or if you had a high cool score. Again, this was on 420. You have until May 19th to burn and get yourself a shadow NFT. this is what some of the art is looking like already. I mean, they sort of just look like the evil versions of Cool Cat. So, and a little bit more details on that is Shadow Wolves will deliver new game playing dynamics and integrate more healthy competition amongst the Cool Cat community. And also, Shadow Wolves will be considered membership NFTs into the Cool Cat ecosystem. You'll be able to go to their events to get the exclusive merch, exclusive future drops. So if you wanted an entry into the Cool Cat ecosystem, maybe this is another route for you. And we do know that they made that partnership last week. That could potentially be a new direction for them. Captains, really cool video. Check it out. It was extremely well done. I took just a screenshot here where Memeland says your Web3 venture starts here. Moving on to Blockworks, where they drop news that Mattel will release a peer-to-peer marketplace for its NFT collectibles on April 27th. A little bit more detail on that. They will be adding a Rarible-powered peer-to-peer marketplace to its virtual collectibles on April 27th, allowing users to buy and sell their NFTs directly to one another. We know that's the future for every brand, for every NFT, probably. And they're also simultaneously launching the 5th series of its popular Hot Wheels NFT Garage. Well, it'll be sold in $25 packs, and then the collectors get their hands on certain rares and all kinds of things. So cool to see Mattel continuing to do things in the space. Moonbirds. Interesting move here by the Moonbirds. So we know back in the day when they revoked the IP right for the original Moonbirds collection, it was extremely controversy in the ecosystem. And some Moonbirds holders were pissed. They were like, this is BS. I paid tons of money for this. You're going to change the terms after we make the purchases. We wanted to build brands around this. And other people were like, CCO is the way. It's how things become mimetic and turn into memes and get put everywhere, right? So there was a lot of controversy there. But then they announced something for the Mythics in terms of their IP. And they say, coming June 2023, we are giving you best of both worlds. Build freely with your CC0 Moonbird or take advantage of IP with your Mythic. So now, if you want to build a brand around an NFT only you can build a brand around, you can buy yourself a Mythic within the Moonbirds ecosystem. Also, Moonbirds announced Talons. Talons is coming for the Moonbirds ecosystem, but it's not what you think. It's not a crypto token. It will not be publicly traded. Instead, it will be part of an internal reward system within the Proof ecosystem. So I'm not sure if this is a move because they don't want to draw attention to the SEC. So they're just going to make it a central sort of like a reward token based only inside of their ecosystem. But nonetheless, we've seen some projects take this route so they don't have to deal with that whole SEC potential securities problem. Shout out to Brian where he says the first art-backed loan is done. And it looks like he loaned out some ETH to the owner of this art piece. And shout out to War Daddy Capital where he says peer-to-peer loans are heating up in art NFTs. In 2022, the traditional art lending market was $31 billion. Recently, high-value, low-liquidity art NFTs have been receiving mid-locked true total value loan offers on longer-term horizons. This is art created by Sam. It's called Skulls of Lucci. And it received a 40 ETH loan for 90 days at 20% APR. So now we're going to be able to loan out our art pieces and, again, provides liquidity to any market. And that's what crypto does. Shout out to Jonah. This video is pretty mind-blowing. For anybody still doubting the metaverse, I know we still have to get the hardware right. When we figure out the hardware and the VR headset, the games are so realistic, and this is a perfect example of this, where he says Unreal Engine 5 is insane. This is not a real video. This is a video game made by indie devs that created it themselves on this Real Engine 5 platform. It looks so realistic, and imagine you had a VR headset with this. You could not tell the difference between real life or the metaverse, and this is what we call the Matrix, folks. It's coming. Memeland. So everybody was talking about Pepe as a new meme coin. They dropped this in reference to that, and they say, you are buying meme coins, we are building the meme coin. And as we know, they're going to be dropping a token. They're based out of Asia, so maybe they have less to worry about on the regulation side. Indigo Hearse, which is Adidas' NFT project, they are dropping merch in partnership with Punk's Comic, Bored Ape Yacht Club and G Money. This is a little sneak peek of that. So cool to see that coming out. It's been, that partnership started a while back. Blue Sky. So decentralized social media is a big thing in Web3. We really want to see that happen. I know we all use Twitter for now. I know we have other alternatives like DSOs, Lens Protocol, but then there's Blue Sky. And this one's founded and funded by Jack Dorsey, the original founder of Twitter. And Blue Sky is building a social protocol where we released ADX. And now that design is starting to solidify. We are renaming it to the Authenticated Transport Protocol. It's a federated network is what they call it. It's a way for servers to communicate with each other like email. Instead of one site running the whole network, like Twitter controlling, how Twitter's hosted, so all your information goes through them, you can have many websites. Users get a choice of their provider, and individuals and businesses can self-host if they want. Very interesting. What makes the app protocol unique? Account portability, so you can take your accounts with you instead of losing all your followers if you leave one platform and go to another. Algorithmic choice, so I guess you can choose the way your algorithm shows you content instead of the platform selling you a narrative based on the algorithm they build. Interoperation and performance. So check that out. I did get my profile. It's essentially exactly like Twitter, but they are trying to make it decentralized. Moving into crypto. All right, this week, couple of crypto exchanges have announced that they are leaving the U.S. or starting to build products outside of the U.S. alone because they can't operate this way, right, and grow this way. Bittrex announced plans to leave the U.S. for good, citing harsher regulator conditions. You don't love to see it. Gemini, Winklevostrans, introducing Gemini Foundation, a non-U.S. crypto derivatives platform, coming soon. Again, that's another one. Coinbase, another one, is exploring launching an offshore platform to trade perpetual swaps side of cryptocurrencies. So again, we're seeing this on, and we really need to get some clarity here. We don't want to push our great crypto companies overseas and have to deal with those kinds of regulations. This was really cool. Karate Combat, which I will show you in a minute what it is, announces an $18 million fundraiser. And these are some of the people who were involved. Karate Combat, it blends full contact action with real-time virtual effects for season 2. So these are two people in real life actually fighting, but then the environment is virtual effects. I'm not sure how this actually works in real life. If you wear like some sort of glasses so that you can see the environment and still see them physically. I'm not sure how the tech works, but this is pretty cool. I believe the concerts will look like this. All sorts of things, all sorts of in real life events are going to change. And there's some first movers on this. But what they're also doing is they're integrating crypto. And the karate team has built an incredibly innovative product that gives fans control of the league and gamifies viewership through the karate token. If the team continues executing it as they have, this could easily 10x. And shout out to Regan Bozeman, as he and his fund have invested into this company. So really cool stuff there. A16Z, pretty big news, more on the technical side of things for the blockchain, is developing an optimism-based rollup called Maggie, the second rollup for the network and the first based on the Rust programming language. The details on this is the project is a new client for the OP stack, and the OP is the open source development stack that powers Optimism, which is one of the largest L2s on Ethereum. This system is written using the Rust programming language and is meant to serve as a faster alternative to OpNode, the only currently existing rollup client that's maintained by the Optimism Labs and written in the Go programming language. So they want to add another one to increase, to make more robust decentralization for Optimism, and the addition of one base Rust will attract more developers. So shout out to A16Z, man, building in space, not only investing. So you love to see that. This is your quarterly reminder. Shout out to DB, where he says Tesla continues to hold their Bitcoin, $350 million worth. So it's not a ton, but it's also not nothing. So we love to see that. Barachain is a Cosmos Layer 1. Of course, they announced this on 420 that they raised $42 million at a Season A. As a Series A round at $420 million valuation, announced on 420. The project says it will launch a public incentivized testnet in the coming weeks, What is Berachain? It's a technology that will allow staked assets to be used in DeFi protocols, creating more liquidity and capital efficiency on chain. Currently, staked assets such as staked Ether are locked while they are used to secure the underlying blockchain's network. It says its proof of liquidity consensus will allow users to simultaneously stake assets on Berachain and use those assets to trade, borrow, lend on chain. I mean, it sounds kind of like liquid staking. Maybe it's a bit unique with them, but what's interesting is the founders of the Berachain, these guys created back in the day an NFT project called Bong Bears, and now they're launching a fully fledged layer 1 blockchain. So what a story. That's all we got for you this week, folks. We hope this brought you value and got you caught up. We will be here again next week for episode 12 of Web3 Weekly Alpha. I'm your host, Serpunk, coming to you live from Innerspace, Orlando. Peace.
Started off with a bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1. Hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream. Now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems. Topping the pyramid schemes. I'm telling you, I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince.